Hello everyone, it's Sloth here, and today we have the most epic deck ever, because what can be more cool than the deck full of cool ninjas? And what more, I made a total reasonable investment in all the cool arts just for this video because I feel like this skin is just so freaking cool, and the same one for this one. So I hope the video will be worth it, because I will probably not use it much outside of it. Okay, jokes aside, Dimir NINJAS, the deck that actually has potential, and this version for the deck has actually decent win rate. So that's why I was interested in this one, because ninjas are not really a thing since quite a long time. They were very popular at the start because everyone was thinking that the ninjas are cool, but they have quite a few issues. This deck does, I think, the best job in trying to capturing like the value and the idea behind the ninjas. I do like the card choices. There are some that might be junky a bit, but they have reasoning behind them. So I think first of all, like, you probably know the ninjas by now, right? But I think we should talk about like what is the main point of the deck, how does it work, how we want to play this, because that's the tricky part. So basically, Satoru is like your extreme late game. This is like the tanky creature that you play at the end. The biggest star for the deck, I think, is Prosperous Thief and Silver Full Master, along with enablers, because those cards not only deal a lot of damage, but they have huge synergies like all around. And the fact that Silver Full Master will make all your flyers that were 1/1 bigger, especially if you have two of them, and this happens, they will become a 3/3 flyers. And this is how you deal enough damage to finish the game. So while the card is a bit understated on its own, you want to cast it so the enemy cannot remove it. That's why we also have Marches and Fading Hopes. And the Prosperous Thief, the card that I didn't appreciate enough at the start, like, this is insane. You want to ninjutsu it on the second turn, that's the best case, from like Network Disruptor on the Windrobber. And basically for 2 mana you get a 3 attack creature, which is already quite important, and then you create a treasure token, and this treasure token will get back the creature that you ninjutsu, and suddenly it makes you ninjutsu for cheaper cost for this creature, but also not lose the tempo. Basically, you can also leave it for Fading Hope for the enemy, and if this goes unanswered for one single turn, and if you are on the play, enemy has only 2 mana to do something about it, so even like the Black March cannot kill it on the curve, then you actually start extremely going for the tempo like advantage, and this will show. So in one of two turns, when this guy or whatever, when this card attacks, it's actually such a big deal. Okay, so this is one of the key cards. Dokuchi Silencer, interesting one. This is the reason we run Fading Hopes and Marches, because usually we want to use it in situation when enemy attacks with one of his creatures and then keeps the second one to block this. Then you get rid of the blocking creature with either Fading Hope or March, and use this ability to kill the other one. So that's usually how you play. It's not value play, because you discard a creature card, so it's you are going 1/1, but it is huge a tempo play, because basically you kill the enemy creature for 0 mana, while he needed to pay the full cost, so 2 or 3 usually. So that's pretty huge. What more? Biting Pawn Ninja, very interesting card. It is a bit slow. For 3 mana you get 3/3. So for this reason you generally want to use the discount from Silver Full Master to start playing it, because then you can pay 2 mana for 3/3 manas that removes cards, and that's a completely different deal. So yeah, this can remove cards, of course, from the enemy hand, and you need to play it very strategically. If you think enemy has a sweeper, then you really need to focus on this, because stat-wise it's not like overwhelming. Basically you can get this one for 1 mana cheaper, and it also accelerates you. So this is more of a counterplay to some scary drops. Like, if you know what the enemy probably will throw next turn, like it's either Chariot, Sweeper, some huge creature that you cannot deal with, or even like Blizzard Brawl, things like this. So then you go a bit lower on the damage and tempo and higher on the like counterplay. So it's basically like a disruption spell. Nashi is your big value engine. You usually won't hit with this more than once or twice, but this hit can win you the game, because that's basically, especially if you're on the aggression side and you have 20 life still, this is basically a free turn in a way, like without combat phase, but basically you can play a big drop that would cost you full turn, and that's a huge swing because they need to answer ninjas and this new threat, and usually they can only answer one of them. Okay, Nezumi Prowler, probably the most junky choice of this deck, and I could see it removed for some other creatures, but at the same time, with all the Boros, I think it makes some sense because it has Death Touch to trade with whatever huge creature enemy has, like Cavalier, Raiju, even like a Sparant with 20 counters, because it's a good card. The fact that you can Death Touch whatever one drop you have and just trade 1 for 1 for basically like very cheap cost, and this has 3 attack and lifelink or whatever. Something gets lifelink. So the healing part is relevant, we only have 2, and they're a bit situational, so it's more of a, tactical card, let's say. If it doesn't work for you and your meta and your league, maybe you can remove it for something else. Not sure exactly what, but there are a lot of ninjas, so probably you will find something. We don't play, of course, Kaito, because Kaito doesn't work extremely great. It's a bit too slow. We are not going for card advantage. We are going extremely for the tempo side. And Hive is extremely strong here in the deck, because this is also your late game that will let you finish the game. Very often, enemy can block 1 or 2 creatures, but if you attack with Hive, he can either block your ninjas or the Hive, so that's basically very often 3 extra damage. And the huge deal with the 1000 Face Shadow, don't forget, this guy gets heavily discounted with the Silver Full Masters because the cost is high. If you have 2 of them, you can ninjutsu it for 2 mana. Usually the scenario is that you have 1 of those, or like Disruptor, then the Silver Full Master, you attack with everything, and don't forget, you can bounce the flying creature that they cannot block, you can copy the Silver Full Master, and he will get the stat buff before the combat resolves. So this can be actually 3-3, even though the enemy sees only 2-2. And you will see in one of the games how insane difference it makes for the rest of the game. So those plays will make you win those games that generally other player would lose, and this is the difference between being above 50% and below 50%. So be careful of those interactions. And yeah, like 1000 Face Shadow is basically your surprise finisher for the enemy. It just puts this 1 extra card that the enemy didn't account for, and usually at the point when you can cast it, you have quite a lot of creatures, and copying the Silver Full Master, which is usually your target for this one, is pretty huge. Remember, you can copy legendary creatures, but probably you don't want to, because you basically waste it. There is a play that sometimes enemy blocks this one and doesn't block another creature, and then you ninjutsu the other creature, copy this one, and the copy won't be blocked. And that's a thing, because the token is attacking and tapped. So you can get 1 trigger, but at huge cost. Like you basically probably lose Nashi, you need to bounce something, and you basically waste 1 of the legendaries. So those are the plays you can make. About my impressions, the deck is pretty solid. Like on the big sample, I think it's something above like 55-56% win rate, which is decent. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely like higher than 50% by quite a minor margin. So, and it's in Mythic, of course, so that's quite huge. You will see the games from Platinum. So I would guess that this might be the best version for Ninjas right now, because it's really hard to get even 50% win rate with Ninjas very often, because they are, as ninjas, they are really fragile, and my impressions after playing the deck, they work perfectly if enemy doesn't disrupt you. This is why we really like to play against some green decks, something that doesn't run removal. The decks that can just get rid of your first 2 or 3 creatures are such a pain because you need all of this going together to make it work. And yeah, you also need specific cards for specific situations, so it is very dicey deck. However, when it works and you win the games and you get all this power from copying stuff, ninjutsu, playing cards for free, it's epic and it's really fun. So overall, I do like the deck. I think it's a decent one. So if you like ninjas, probably that's your best bet to play them. And you know what? The art is amazing. I really like this one. And the previous skins, the original one, were okay, but this one is just so much better. So if you want to be cool, you can play with this deck and be cool. Yeah, that's a solid review, Sloth. Alright, if you like this kind of decks or any kind of control, slower, more junky, or more interesting decks that are still relatively competitive, or sometimes very competitive, don't forget to subscribe. You don't really lose anything except 5 seconds and you will see cool decks, so why not? And thank you for everyone that subscribed. I really appreciate all your comments, guys. They were so nice. And to be frank, like, I wasn't aware that Skeletal Swarming is such a loved card. So I have idea for another deck, but I need to test it a bit more, so there is a chance it will come up again. Alright, so really thank you for such a cool reaction. And that being said, let's go into the games and I hope you will enjoy those. Alright, we are going first. Our mana is great, everything is great, life is great. Let's see if enemy can ruin it with his removal spells. Double Master is interesting. We don't really have any ninjutsu benefits, but we just play like huge creatures in the end. We of course start with the creature, because we definitely, like with this deck, you definitely want to have something on the board, especially something with flying. Let's go for the hippie one. Why don't I have the dragon? That's horrible. That's a big mistake from my part. Okay, we are against some kind of green, and that's good. We play it main phase, because we need to sneak additional damage, because this damage might be game like won or lost. So, you know. Oh, and we know exactly, and I mean exactly what we are against. Okay, this will be interesting. I think we can double attack, right? Other ninjas, so this will be a 3-3 if he blocks it. I think we go for the bait. He cannot block this one, so he can trade with the Silver Full Master only. And he went for it. Do we want to ninjutsu something else? Not really. I guess we could get this one, but honestly saving the Silver Full Master is just too huge of a deal. And we cannot like sneak between the phases like the damage, so we need to go like this. And still, it means that we go for the Windrobber, because this one doesn't really do anything, and this one can tap a permanent. And guess what? We will definitely tap a permanent. Oh, that's so brutal. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. That's some serious attack. And honestly, I will play Nashi, we are at 20, and there's no reason not to. And we can replay the Windrobber anyway. And look how much damage we are doing. Oh my god, that's so huge. And never play the land before you use Nashi, because you usually hit the land anyway. I guess we could double. Like, I mean, yeah. He might have red and haste. You know what? I want to show this small piece of domination. Like, tapping enchantment is this power move that not only breaks their HP, but also their soul. I think that was the game-winning move, not the Silver Full Masters. So yeah, he has red. Oh, that's sad. So he will explode in a second. Right, he will explode, of course he will. So he's just trying to see how far he was from the some card that mattered. Well, that was basically the perfect draw we hoped for, and the perfect like type of game we want to go for. This play, if he didn't block, the game would be completely different. He was just a bit greedy. Alright, we are going first, with honestly pretty strong hand. Like, we are definitely very aggressive here. And we will enable the draw a card very quickly, I would assume. Okay, we go for the balanced mana. We attack. We get this guy, because it's really important to start ramping with the tempo. You can see how much mana we have compared to the enemy. And do we play the Windrobber? Yes, we do. I think it's worth it, because we want double creature. Like 2 mana is the removal mana, so there's high chance one of them will die, and we definitely want something that keeps hitting. And land from the top is pretty darn good. So it's either Biting Palm Ninja to discard whatever he has. So this is a Doomscar, right? This is also a Doomscar that will trigger next turn. So I think the biggest impact for this turn is this. I will leave this one because it creates mana for the future turn when we need to rebuild after the Doomscar. Yeah, sure. Definitely remove it and show me those tasty cards. Oh, that's strong. Negate is dead card. Siphon Insight and Memory Delusional Grade. It's either Wandering Emperor or the Marsh. He can use the -2 before we use ninjutsu, so before the blockers are declared. And then he can exile and we cannot protect the creature with ninjutsu. So that will hurt. He needs to tap out for the full next turn. Like, March is such a huge value. It's either March or Emperor. Somehow Emperor feels more threatening, to be honest. I will get rid of the Emperor. It might be a mistake. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to get rid of the Doomscar, but you know, things happen. They do happen. And I think we play like this. We want, of course, double creature. This way we can double attack, and then whatever he marches, it won't be enough. So I expect land and march for 3 at least. If he's smart, he will exile Siphon Insight and possibly one more card. Obscura Charm, that's an interesting choice. That is an interesting one. We have options. Man, probably the correct play is Silver Full Master into Windrobber. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the most damage and this is basically what we have to do. But man, this one is so tempting, but we don't have mana, right? So we still have to play like this. Exiling card? It feels junky. Especially that we get like full benefit right now from the additional power. He mills the card and he needs the Doomscar and he cannot cast it next turn even if he top decks it. Because he needs 5 mana without the foretelling. So it's rough, but we need to create as much pressure as possible. We definitely want to attack and force his answer. Of course he top decked another. Top 13 cards, easy. Okay, still, we will make some damage. And this will be... That's actually interesting choice, but I still think we go for the March. This is the last card that we need to get rid of. This will create a token, which is annoying. Yeah, because it basically gives him 3 mana, and he main phase it. Well, that's interesting. Maybe he wants to hit the March? But he cannot exile white cards because he has none. Okay, that's definitely a thing. And I guess we just attack, right? He will... Oh, wow. That's some ballsy play. And that's nearly enough to kill him, frankly. Ninjutsu. He has something for 1 mana. Oh, so it is March. Are you... No, it's 3 mana. He could... The best case he could top deck is March with white card. And it's exile for 2 and not for 3. But it seems that he actually did top deck both of them. That's insane. Easy win. Easy win. If he had March, maybe he didn't hit white card. Definitely he had the March, right? Because we had the priority. So it means that the second card wasn't white. Because he would exile the Thousand Face Shadow and not die. So it means that he drew a March and something that's black or blue. Okay, we're going first. I'm not extremely happy about this hand. It might go really wrong very quickly. We need to start, of course, with this one. With this deck, you really need to be careful about the like the 3 mana lands. Okay, that's actually pretty good for us. We start with this one, because enemy will have 2 mana. It means whatever he plays, we can double remove all of his creatures and start attacking. I hope he gets the counter on Aspirant. I really hope he does. You sneaky bastard. Well, that was painful, definitely. Huh. What is history though? Brutal Qatar, right? They always have it. Brutal Qatar will be really brutal. Like, I guess we could make a ninja with mana. No, I think it's Nashi. It's a risky play. But I basically want him to invest into... Like, this choice he made means that Aspirant won't be as huge. Okay, now he tries to rectify what he did last turn. And that's perfect, he didn't attack. So it means that we can get rid of both of them, and that's perfect. And this will be 1 cheaper, so it's 2 mana. Yeah, so it means we probably want to play it. Definitely get rid of this one. And honestly, get rid of this one. I hate leaving the Aspirant, not gonna lie, but this means that both... Yeah, that's what I thought. It means that both hit, and that's huge, because we can ninjutsu this one. We would Biting Palm Ninja and remove 1 of his next turn plays, so Brutal Qatar will be out, or Apparition, and then this plays card for free, right? Yeah, so we don't pay the cost, and that would be enough. Double hit, double effect. Alright, we are going first. Fading Hope is decent here, but still it won't be as easy. I'm thinking about blue. Yeah, we'll definitely start with this one. I nearly played this one because of course you get the benefit of not more than 2 lands, but that would be a disaster. We nearly avoided it. Alright, that's interesting. I think this is the one. It creates a lot of pressure. And if he attacks with the Asher of the Fallen and plays a blocker, then we Fading Hope the blocker and kill the Asher. We still will be short on cards very quickly. So that's something we need to think about. Okay, sure. He might make a token. Are you making a token? Like, we want stuff on board. We need to force him to remove it, especially like Silencer, because Silencer is basically a card for card removal. So no, that's pretty huge. It also forces enemy to block basically. Okay, so that was... Honestly, that's pretty good for us. We can choose, right? I am checking this one, not this one, because the less information you give to the enemy, the better for you. We definitely can play the land. You may discard target. So we can Fading Hope this one and kill this one, or just Network Disruptor this one. But I still think this is a bit of a better value. Not sure what we discard though. We have one enabler in the hand, so we don't really need more. We attack. Do we need another Silencer? Her choice. This is also a card we can play right now. I really like the Prosperous Thief, I really like the Silver Full Master. I think it's this. I'm not extremely happy about this play. Maybe we should get rid of the Disruptor and just double Silencer. Maybe that was the better play with all of this. But in the end, I think it works out for us. So we definitely tap it. This way it dies. Nice. And we need to get rid of something. I think we are over the tempo game. So we just play for the damage. So right now we can kill the creature. That's really good. And that's why Disruptor is so amazing in this deck. This is like such a main card. So right now we have everything on the board and the enemy has 0 and he's on 15, but it will still be hard. So this is probably like mono white in Esper version, the strong one. He might have Interceptor right now. Raffin or Adeline. Oh, Skyclave Apparition. That's interesting. Not sure if that was the best choice, but definitely something that was enough here. That's unfortunate draw. Let's go for the blue one. And honestly, we don't really have extremely much choice. I think we need to go like this. We could attack with the Silver Full Master. The only way he kills it is if he sacrifices this. So you know what? I will do it. Let's get rid of the Redain. Like, attack with Silver Full Master, I wasn't sure about, but it seems that it works quite well. Like, having flying and menace is big deal. They're so hard to block. And enemy at this moment cannot rise until he gets the lifelink. Okay, and he's going extremely aggressive right now. And I must say I don't mind it as much. Like, if you are to win this game, it's exactly by racing them. But our draw from the top is really important. Like, we need to hit something that is not a land. Like, if we hit land, we just attack with Hive and it's pretty horrible. And lifelink is a big deal. And of course we hit the land, because why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we hit a land? Yeah, we are just full all in. No way around it. And that's not great, he can trade with basically everything and nullify like all the damage. Yeah, that's also something that will die. And our great top decks. Oh man, like we were in great shape until we drew 2 lands from the top. And now we are extremely behind, we have nothing. And that's a good game. Okay, and we are on the draw, which is a bit brutal. On the play, this hand would be so freaking amazing. Turn 1, Disruptor, like we definitely keep it. Disruptor into Full Master, into, or even Prosperous Thief. Oh man, we are so happy to see green. Like every color that doesn't have removal, here, take the double tap. Every color that doesn't have removal is really cool for us, really. Okay, let's go like this. We can go for the damage or for the tempo. I think generally for the tempo is better. That's also quite a lot of damage. I think we take the Disruptor, because at some point we probably can ninjutsu this. This is pretty good card. I kinda like it. Oh, even though he gets treasures, that's so tempting. Definitely this is the land. Oh man, like what is the best play? We definitely want this one treasure, right? I think we'll Disruptor it. And later we'll Fading Hope it. So he doesn't get the treasures back as quickly as possible. So he will explode a bit, but later. And that's what we want. I would love to ninjutsu this one, but probably the correct choice is this. It gives a lot of value. And I mean like a lot. Look at this freaking damage. Enemy is already at 13. And we still get treasures every single turn. So yeah, like Prosperous Thief is bigger part of the deck than you could think. Okay, and that's what he did. Yeah, I think we let him declare the attackers. Cause why not? Like, whatever we bounce, it doesn't... Like, it matters, but... Yeah, so he wants this with Vigilance. And guess what, my friend? You ain't having this one. Evil laugh. Oh, I love it. Satoru Umezawa. Is this any good? Like, honestly. You know what, sure, we will take it. I just don't think the game will be so long to benefit from, like, ninjutsu. But you know what, it is possible it will, so why not? Enjoy your 4-4, because we have quite a big guy right there. Like, we probably want the ninja, right? We want the maximum damage. Man, I'm so tempted to just play Nashi, but probably... Like, I guess it's a tempo swing. And we get back the Disruptor for the next turn, which is really good. Yeah, I think that's the best damage. We make the treasure, and we make a free card. Which one is better? This one has flying, right? I honestly prefer the flying one. Enjoy. It's also quite cheap, so we don't get punished so much. And honestly, it's probably this. They have no sweepers. They cannot sweep. It means that the menace will be really brutal. Because they basically need 4 creatures. 2 creatures, man, 4. They need 2 creatures that just to block this one. And they cannot kill us, right? It's just 12 damage. I won't risk it, I think, so I will block this one for the maximum benefit. Oh, he was so happy to just smork. Like, I love the players that just do the play that automatically loses them the game, but they just, you know, want to show, I had something. Like, he should just block and just play double creatures, something like this. Like, I don't know, just my thoughts.